And we are live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to BWTM Sports. We're going to get straight down to business with the world-class trainer, Abel Sanchez. Abel, how are you? Hold on. Let's try again. Abel, how are we doing?
I'm doing well, Lemieux. Nice talking to you.
You too. It's been a little while again, Abel. I know you've been a very busy man. Keep me updated. What's been going on?
Well, we have since Golovkin's fight, we had Garcia fight. It won a third-round knockout. We had Alex Salcedo winning a third-round knockout. I just came back from France. And Michelle Soro had a third-round knockout. I had Arsen Boulamirian had a third-round knockout. I'm going right now to a weigh-in for a young man named Sergey Bohachuk, who's got 5 fights. He's fighting in Orange County. From there, tomorrow night, we drive to Vegas for a fight on the HBO Latino show, which is Dennis Shapovalov fighting Rene Alvarado.
So it's KO City for you at the moment, isn't it?
These guys work hard. And the KOs come. It's not like we're trying to knock anybody out, but if you work hard and you do the things necessary to be in the best shape you can be, those things happen.
But it's no secret now, Abel, that your fighters come to fight. They come to cause problems. They chin check people. So it's no surprise people are getting chin checked.
No, it's not. But you know what? I think that we as coaches and the fighters owe the fans the kind of fight that they want to see. If we're going to keep a big fan base in this business, we need to make sure that we're pleasing the fans. We're doing things that makes them come out in droves, and if that happens, then we're going to be successful.
So, how's Gassiev doing? Obviously, the Tortillas fight is not too far from now next year. How are you feeling about the fight, and what are you doing in terms of preparation for this fight?
He's been in camp now for about 3.5 weeks. The fight is on February the 3rd in Sochi, Russia. We're fighting. I think Gassiev and Torticos are probably the 2 best fighters, or the 2 most attractive style fighters in this tournament, as far as for the fans. So Torticos is a big puncher. Let's see if he can take the shots that Gassiev throws, and we'll see if Gassiev can take the shots that Torticos throws. But I think it's a 50-50 fight. I think that the 2 guys are going to be superstars when all this is over, win, lose, or draw, because I think that they have the kind of style that's going to draw well.
Do you think any of those 2 guys could move up to the heavyweight division and be a serious threat?
I think so. I think that the punching power makes them formidable heavyweights. I think their size may be a little undersized for today's heavyweight, but their power and their speed is going to be just like Evander Holyfield when Evander moved up. Those kind of attributes are going to do well in the heavyweight division, because the heavyweights can be a little bit slower for them.
Yeah, actually, as you mentioned the name Evander Holyfield, we spoke to Evander last week. We had him on the show for a good 20 minutes, half an hour. We talked about him moving to heavyweight and his belief system. And he said it was hard work and self-belief that made him believe that he could be world heavyweight champion. And when he lost, he came back, he made the adjustments to regain the title against Riddick Bowe. He also believes that in this era, he believes that his work rate and the stuff that he did back then, in this era, he would be still successful. What are your thoughts on that?
He's absolutely right. I think that today's heavyweight is too first of all, out of shape. Second of all, they're looking for maybe to throw 30, 40 punches around, where Evander threw 70, 80 punches around and was a busy heavyweight, and a busy heavyweight is going to land the shots that it needs to land to hurt the big guys. I think these 2 guys, Torticos and Garcia, have that kind of style where they throw a lot of punches. Even if they move up to a heavyweight, say, put another 30 pounds on there, or 25 pounds, they're still going to be active heavyweights like Evander was. And I think that would be beneficial. When you get a guy like Tyson Fury, who doesn't throw that many punches, and you get guys like Deontay wanting to land just one big right hand, I think these guys with boxing skills and a little power will give troubles.
So, would it be in your plans in the future for Gassiev to move up to heavyweight and challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship, or is that just sort of pie in the sky stuff?
No, I think that he is 24 years old, and like Evander, he's about 6'3", 6'3.5" right now. He weighs 200 obviously for this tournament, but I think if we put 25 pounds on him, I think that's not a pie in the sky kind of thought, because like Evander, once he unified the cruiserweight division, the only natural thing to do was to move up and challenge for the heavyweight title. All we can do is get him ready as coaches. All we can do is get him ready and take him to the gate, and then it's up to them. But I think that both George Jose and Garcia would make great heavyweights in today's heavyweight market.
When you look across, which you're going to be tempted to do, you've got Usyk and Briedis. What are your thoughts on that fight, and who do you think is going to be victorious there?
I think it's a fight that Usyk should win, but I wouldn't overlook Briedis. He is a world champion, and he is fighting in his hometown. But Usyk has got the technical skills to thwart probably anything that Briedis does, and I don't think it's going to be a fan-pleasing fight. I think that both guys have the kind of style that clutching and throwing one punch and holding, and so it may not be something that, like I say, is eye-pleasing, but it's going to be a good fight. I think the guy that wins is going to have his hands full with the winner of the Garcia-Dorticos fight.
One of your favorite fighters fights shortly. Chris Eubank Jr. will be fighting George Groves. What are your thoughts?
I think George wins. I think that Chris is a good fighter, but I think he's a little small for that super middleweight division. I think George Groves is more of a solid fighter. He had more of the big fight experience. Although it is going to be a very difficult fight for both guys, I do think that George wins the decision.
What makes you feel so convicted that that George is going to be so much more stronger and able to deal with Chris Eubank Jr. And George has mentioned himself about him being Chris Eubank being Insta famous. I mean, the punching bag and the hand speed on the pads. How much can we read into all of that?
Well, I had George Groves in camp, and he sparred with Golovkin. I saw George Groves up close and personal. I think George is a very strong kid when he sets his mind to the task at hand. He had a couple issues, some changes in personnel in the corner, but I think that he's more settled now. I think that Chris has gotten a lot of notoriety from those YouTube videos and from his father talking so much, but at the end of the day, he's going to step in the ring with George Groves. Those videos ain't going to help him. Yes, he does have fast hands, but in order to move those fast hands, he's going to have to put himself in danger, and George is going to be there to be able to capitalize on it. I think that Chris is a good fighter, but I don't think he's at the level of George Groves yet.
What do you make of Eubank saying that he don't need a trainer, he trains himself, and Ronnie and father saying no, we're keeping him on a leash at the moment. We've just got to tame him, keep him cool. We don't tell him what to do. And Eubank says, well, if you have to tell me what to do, then I shouldn't be fighting. How do you respond to that?
Well, first of all, his father was a great fighter. I can say that and not feel bad about it. And he had a coach. He had a coach that made him a great fighter. Yes, they get in the ring, and yes, they're the ones that do the fighting. But you know what? There has to be that voice on the outside that's correcting the little mistakes that they are making. Chris is not going to benefit from that growth because he feels that way. I think that all great fighters, if you go back in history, all great fighters in history have had a coach that was very influential in the corner and very influential in their careers. When you start talking like that, you're trying to say that all those guys are crazy. So he is not that special, and he is not that at that level yet where he can be who he wants to be by himself.
In the same next weekend we have another one of your favorite fighters from the UK, Billy Joe Saunders. He will be fighting David Lemieux. What are your thoughts on that fight?
You know what? That's a very interesting fight. I'm really looking forward to seeing that fight. I think that Billy Joe Saunders has to fight a perfect fight in order to beat Lemieux. I think he should beat Lemieux, but he's going to have to fight the perfect fight. If he makes any mistakes, Lemieux is a big puncher. Lemieux is a very, very good puncher, very strong young man. who's determined. He's had some setbacks, and I think he's determined not to get set back again. So if Billy Joe doesn't find that perfect fight and gets into a firefight with this kid, it may not be good for Billy Joe.
One of my concerns about Billy Joe Saunders is that as much as he's got all these skills, after 6 rounds, he tends to slow down and get nailed with shots. This is the biggest puncher by none that he's fighting in his career. And Lemieux, although he's not a boxer, he can't box for anything, but he can punch, and he punches, and all he needs is one opportunity, Lemieux, and it's lights out. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, that's why I say you got to fight the perfect fight, and the perfect fight is 12 rounds. It's not 6 rounds. The perfect fight is being able to do everything you did in the first and second round in the 12th round. And if he's not able to do that and he slows down a little bit, you're going to give Lemieux that opportunity. And if he gives Lemieux that opportunity, Lemieux lands a good shot is going to hurt him. And if he hurts him, then it's just a matter of time when he hurts him again. And Lemieux is a good finisher.
Dominic Ingle now is in the corner of Billy Joe Saunders. He took over when for the William Monroe fight, and now he's still in the corner now. They've moved to Sheffield, obviously. Billy Joe Saunders up in Sheffield now. So people think his head's screwed on now. He's in good shape. He's ready to go. Does Dominic Ingle make a difference to Billy Joe Saunders, or is it still a mental thing with Billy Joe?
No, absolutely makes a difference. I think that he's got a stable mind, a very knowledgeable mind in the corner, not only with the young Ingle, but the older Ingle is there too. So I think that he has now the benefit of he's not in there by himself. He has the benefit of, not that he was in there by himself before, but now he has 2 very, very intelligent people in the ring, in the corner with him. And I think that's going to help him. I think that'll keep him centered, and that will keep him focused on the fight more than he was in the past. I've seen some pictures. I don't know how recent they were, but I've seen some pictures of his body, how he's really cut up, how he's done all the work in the gym. And I think that's a testament to him following instructions and doing what they've asked of him. So if he does that in the ring, it may be a good fight for him.
Okay. Would you still entertain the fact of fighting Billy Joe Saunders should he come through the Lemieux fight?
I think that he's got a belt that Golovkin would like to have, but it wasn't that we didn't entertain it before. We entertained it. It's just that sometimes these guys want to win the lotto in one fight, and it's impossible when there's only so much available and so much that can be passed around. And if they don't deserve it, and if management, Golovkin's management and promoters feel that they don't deserve what they're asking for, then they're not going to fight him. I think that Billy Joe has got the opportunity to win 3 more belts and be unified champion by fighting Golovkin. If he doesn't price himself out, I think he'll get that opportunity.
In terms of Golovkin and Canelo, the rematch, lots of rumors flying around that the fight's going to happen in May. Can you confirm this, or is this still paper talk?
I cannot confirm anything because I'm not the one doing the dealing. It's Tom Loeffler and Herman Brothers, Oleg and Max, who are Gennadi's managers. They are talking to Golden Boy. In fact, on my way after this fight here in Orange County, I'm going to Vegas for a show with Shepkov, and I believe Tom Loeffler and Golden Boy are working together on a show there, so they'll have time to discuss it further. But I'll tell you one thing, Golovkin will fight in the first quarter of the year, the first 3 or 4 months. If that Canelo fight is not made, Golovkin is going to fight somewhere. I know that Tom doesn't want to keep him on a shelf for too long. He is 35 years old, so the busier we keep him, the sharper he stays. So if the Canelo thing is not done before the end of the year, you can see Gennady fight probably in the first 3 or 4 months of the year.
Okay, so if that's the case and you don't get that fight, who could we likely see Golovkin be in the ring with? What are the type of opponents you're talking about for Golovkin we could see Golovkin fighting?
Well, you have you just mentioned Billy Joe Saunders. The winner of that fight could be a possible opponent. I mean, I'm not determining that. Tom is the one that will reach out and try to secure at least some kind of commitment from these guys. But then if that fight is not there, then there's a possibility of moving up to 168 and fighting one of the 68-pound champions. So we still have a month or at least a couple, 3 weeks to make sure that the Canelo rematch is not going to be done, and then he'll go in a different direction. But until then, I think that it's premature to start assuming that or start naming kind of names that we like to fight. I'd like to fight the rematch because I think it's something that needs to be finished business, and we need to find we need to determine who the good judges can determine the winner this time. Unfortunately, we had the controversy, but if it gets done and it gets done and made a hit, I think it'll be a different fight.
I heard a story, and I couldn't believe the story. I thought it was it's almost preposterous, but let me hear what your thoughts on it. I heard that Gennady Golovkin said he'd be willing to take the fight in Mexico to fight Canelo. Is this true or is this false?
No, absolutely. Look, when we first started out with Golovkin fought all over the world. He's fought in probably 8 or 9 different countries. We've always believed that he's a world champion, and if that's what it takes to make the fight, if that's what it takes for Gennady to get in the ring with Canelo, Gennady's willing to do just about anything to make sure the fans get the fight before it's a non-fight. And if all things considered are taken care of, then yes, of course we fight him. We fight anywhere.
But wait. You didn't get the shake of you didn't get the nod in Vegas, or you didn't get the nod then. So if you didn't get the nod then what made you think you're going to get the nod in Mexico in Canelo's backyard?
Well, we didn't get the nod in Vegas because of three blind mice were doing the judging, or 2 blind mice were doing the judging. I think that controversy will serve as a catalyst to make sure that that's what is done correctly. I think that we have to believe in the integrity of the sport and the integrity of the people around it. That as bad as the first one was, that something like that doesn't happen again.
Yeah, but
but if we start to worry, if we as coaches and fighters start to worry about every fight out, then hell, we're not going to have time to even concentrate on the fight.
Yeah, I appreciate what you're saying there, Abel. But on the flip side of this, before going into the fight against, with Canelo, you knew what the judges were. You knew there was a possibility you could get robbed or shafted in a fight with A. Bird being one of the judges. So that being said, by going and fighting Mexico and seeing Carson Jones the other day doing what happened with him over there, why would you feel so confident that you'd go to Mexico that you wouldn't get robbed over there?
Well, I'm not going to say I'm 100% confident that could happen, but it's in our hands to try to alleviate that, eliminate that possibility. But if that is the concern and the fight doesn't get made, then I think that we're foolish in thinking that, because then progress doesn't happen, boxing doesn't happen. I think that we have to take those kind of chances so that this game progresses to the point where the best fight the best, regardless of the possible controversy.
But
we worry about every damn little thing that there is to worry about, and fights don't happen.
But even in your own breath, you've just said taking chances. Why are you taking chances? If it's a fair just decision you're going to get, and 2 guys can fight fairly, it should not be about taking chances. You're just fighting, right?
No, correct. But the question that you asked is taking it to Mexico, so that's the chance that you take. But if that is the chance that you have to take to make sure the fight happens for the sport of boxing, for the fans, then you have to take those chances. We have to be willing to do what is necessary to make that fight happen. So it doesn't take 5 years like the Pacquiao Mayweather flop that took 5-6 years to make or to complete and finish.
See, Abel, when you say things like that, you've got one side, there's a fan base of you, but then you make comments like that Pacquiao flop, and people would interpret that as being something else there, Abel. Can you elaborate on that for me, please, the comment of the flop?
The reason I said a flop is because I think we as fans expected something completely different. We expected the guys of 5 years ago. We expected the guys of when they first talked about the fight. That's what we expected as fans, and I think we were cheated. We were cheated not only in the price, but we were cheated in the actual fight itself. And then Manny comes out and said he was hurt before the fight, his shoulder. So all the way around, it wasn't what it was sold, how it was sold to us. So
Okay.
I think to eliminate that possibility, I think that you need to make the fight, make the rematch, make it happen now, and somebody's going to have to make concessions. Somebody's going to have to take chances. And if it's the case, and we're going to take a chance in Mexico, being as Golovkin is WBC champion, being as he does have a pretty good fan base in Mexico too, I think that that's not as big a risk as if he wasn't as big a fighter in Mexico.
Okay.
If it was somebody that nobody knew in Mexico, then yes, there's more of a chance. But I think that it should be made, and if that's the case, and it goes there, so be it.
Oh, Canelo's been telling people that he feels that he beat Golovkin, and Golovkin's been basically reported by saying to tell Canelo to stop lying. Is this correct?
I don't think Golovkin said those exact words, but Canelo has been saying that he beat. I don't think in the whole history of boxing that there has ever been a fight that has been reversed. The decision has been reversed after the fight for reasons of the judges just were confident. It's been reversed because somebody was on some kind of drug or something like that happened, but it's never been reversed because the judges weren't confident. The judges that weren't confident in this fight, you ask anybody, any journalist, you're gonna get a 70 for Golovkin, 30 for Canelo, or 30 for the draw. If you ask any of the judges that were journalists that were inside, they had an 80 for Golovkin. So I don't know who Canelo is talking to, but whoever he's talking to is blowing smoke up his butt, telling him that, and he believes it. But that's okay. That was yesterday. Let's do the new one and prove to the fans and prove what you're saying, that you think you won by beating Golovkin. Not only beating him, but knocking him out like you said you were going to the first time.
You know, this is why I love talking to you, Abel, because you're so entertaining to talk to. I have to say, very entertaining and very engaging. You made a comment last time I spoke to you about Rigondeaux and Lomachenko, and you said, well, Rigondeaux's too small, he gets dropped, and if Lomachenko hits him, he'll stay there. Do you still feel that way, or have you had more time to ponder?
No. I don't think I said that he was going to get knocked out. What I did say, he was smaller, but you can't overlook Rigondeaux. Rigondeaux is a very talented fighter. Rigondeaux is, before he fought Donaire, everybody thought Donaire was going to steamroll. Okay, and he ended up schooling Donaire. And Donaire's never been the same. So you can't overlook him. I just think that the activity level of Lomachenko, the inactivity of Rigondeaux, the size of Lomachenko, that he's grown into that size, and Rigondeaux's moving up, I think will play a big part. But don't overlook him. There's no guarantee that Lomachenko is going to win the fight. He should win the fight, but you have a very, very skilled fighter in front of you, and who has won all his life, or most of his life. It's not going to be an easy fight.
Now, I did a video earlier on previewing this fight, and I didn't give a prediction, but what I did do, I was concerned that Lomachenko he can win this fight on points, and he can win this fight by knockout. But if you ask anybody, can Rigondeaux win this fight by points? They go, no, he's got to stop Lomachenko. Is that fair, and is that right?
No, I don't think that's true. I think Rigondeaux is just as good a boxer as Lomachenko. What Lomachenko has is he's had the activity in fights, that is, where he's being seen by the American public, and he's very flashy. He throws nice combinations, has great legs, has had some spectacular knockouts against opposition that was not Rigondeaux, though. Opposition that has been subpar. There's no way you can compare the guys that Lomachenko fought to Rigondeaux. So that's why I referenced the Donaire fight.
Yeah.
Because you had a guy that was at the top of his game in Rigondeaux, made him look silly. So you can't overlook the fact that he is a very talented fighter. That he gets knocked out, I don't think so. That he gets decision, yes, but it could also work the other way. I don't think that Rigondeaux has the power to knock out Lomachenko, but I do think that he has the skills to decision Lomachenko.
A lot of people are saying, well, it's in the bag. If Lomachenko goes the points, he's going to in the bag because he's got Bob Arum and all the rest of it. Should boxing fans be that skeptical and journalists be that skeptical, or should we have an open mind?
I think it's not because he has Bob Arum. I think it's because the public have seen it. These judges have seen it. These journalists have seen it more often. Where the only time they've seen Rigondeaux is in China or some obscure channel where he's not really showcased. Lomachenko's been showcased probably from the beginning, from the second when he won the title. He had that loss against Salido, and that was televised. So I think that if we're saying why it's an easy fight or why everybody's thinking Lomachenko has got it in the bag, is I think it's because he's more known. But again, you cannot overlook not only the Cuban background, but the skills of Rigondeaux.
One of our fans, or one of our supporters, has just come in and said, yes, Gennady Golovkin said Canelo would stop Canelo said stop lying to the fans in his interview with Steve Kim for the Ring Digital 3 weeks ago. So that somebody just confirming that Gennady Golovkin was telling.
That just tells you how adamant Golovkin is about getting this fight over with. He's probably trying to get Canelo to get pissed off and sign the fight. You know, I mean, but we want to see it. You want to see it.
Of course.
That fan that just wrote in wants to see it. So, and is there anything precluding that fight from happening? Who else could Canelo fight that the fans want to see other than Golovkin? If you do a poll, it's going to be 99% they want to see Canelo rematch.
Liam Smith, the rematch.
So I think it should happen, but again, it's something that they have to work themselves out and hopefully put it together and give us that great fight again.
So you don't want to see Liam? You don't want to see Liam Smith then with Canelo again, then?
Say that again?
You don't want to see Liam Smith fight Canelo again, then?
I don't want to see anybody fight Canelo but Golovkin. I don't want to see anybody fight Golovkin but Canelo. I want to get this thing finished, finalized, and if it's a better fight than the last one, and they can do it again, then do it again. I think that those kind of fights are what the fans really, when they can anticipate a type of fight, I think it's important for the fans because they will not only buy it, but they will make every effort to see it. So if it can be as good as the last one, and they do another one.
Wow. I've got a couple of questions in the room. People are asking. The same gentleman that asked Guju asked the question: having seen GGG and Groves spar, and considering GGG might move to 168, how does a fight with Groves play out?
I think that GGG is at a different level than a lot of these guys, and GGG would beat George Groves, but it would be a difficult fight. George Groves is a very good fighter, but with small gloves on, with wraps and being prepared for a fight, not only physically but being focused on a particular opponent, makes a big difference. The sparring is one thing, but a fight is another.
Okay. In terms of this question, I'm asking, it's not a divisive question. It's a question that, having you seen the sport and you've seen the sport a long time, why is it that the likes of Andre Ward, Rigondeaux, maybe Wilder are not making this, and even those guys are not making the sort of money or getting the sort of shine that maybe a foreign fighter coming onto US soil gets and getting the love? What do you think that is, and why do you think that would be? That a foreign fighter from
I don't think it has anything to do with a foreign fighter or a home fighter.
Okay.
I think what it has to do is we live in a morbid society. We live in a morbid society, and the reason I say that is because people want to see somebody get hurt. They don't want to see a dance. They want to see somebody get hurt, and when that person gets hurt, they want to see their hero that hurt the other person be the boy next door. They don't want to hear braggadocious. They don't want to You know, you got to remember, we're selling this to the fans. As a fan, you have to be able to support the kind of character and qualities that you feel are the best for you supporting. When you get a guy like the guys you just mentioned, who don't put on a pleasing fight, it's difficult for a promoter to sell them. It's difficult. Look, I'll give you, for instance, Andre Ward fights the rematch with Sergey Kovalev.
Yes.
They take it to the Mandalay Bay and sell 6,500 tickets at the Mandalay Bay with a capacity of 12,000. They sell 125,000 pay-per-views. These are two, probably at the time, two of the best fighters in the world. And they couldn't sell. So it's got nothing to do with foreign. It's got to do with styles. It's got to do with what you're selling. If the fan doesn't want to buy what you're selling, then you're going to have to change it. And if you don't change it, then you're the one to blame as a fighter or as a manager or as a coach. That's why when I just referenced a little while ago when my fighters come to the fight, I make sure that whatever fighter I take on, they understand what their responsibility is. What their responsibility is to please the ticket buying fan that is hopefully going to come back to see us again. If we can't do that, then we're wasting our time. We're wasting our time because we won't be able to sell tickets to our relatives. So if we can't convince these fighters of what their responsibility is, then I think we're doing them a disservice.
Okay.
I make sure that my guys understand.
Deontay Wilder came off a devastating knockout of Stavern, knocked Stavern out clean. I mean, this is a guy that's knocking everybody out. So what would be the excuse there? He's knocking people out in devastating fashion. That's what fans want. So why would that?
The excuse there would be you have to get yourself a publicist that understands what you need to be saying. When a man speaks like he speaks sometimes in an interview, he's going to turn a lot of people off.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to have to sell himself to me and to you and to the ticket, the buying public. He's going to have to sell himself, and if he can't sell himself with his mouth, he's going to say, and his fist, but his mouth is part of it too. If he can't do that, then the public is not going to buy him. The public is going to be impossible for the public to buy him because of his braggadocious or of his the way he speaks about his opponent. One of the endearing things about Golovkin, is that people like to hear him congratulate and talk about how great his opponent was and not badmouth anybody. And so all those things help in selling a fighter. You despise, let's just say, Broner. Broner has his followers, but Broner also has his detractors. And if he continues to behave the way that he does, he's going to lose a lot more fans than he's going to gain. So I think it's a lot of things involved in trying to sell a fighter, but at the beginning of the career, I think it has to be explained to these fighters what their responsibilities are to the fan. They have responsibilities to the fan. It's not just about climbing the ropes and fighting. They have to make sure that not only inside the ring but outside the ring, they're the kind of fighter that a fan wants to pay to go see.
What are your thoughts on this AJ versus Wilder fight? Who do you think would win that fight?
I think it's a very good fight. I think that AJ is probably technically more sound. I think that AJ has more support behind him. But I'm going to tell you, anybody Wilder gets with that right hand is going to sleep for a couple months. I said that before the Stavern fight. I think I said it to you. I just think that Wilder may not be the slickest, but if he hits you with the right hand, and he's got distance, he's got long arms, he's got decent boxing skills, and AJ is not like the best defensive fighter. He gets hit, and we've seen AJ hurt. So if Wilder hits him with that right hand, I just go to sleep.
What do you make of also Joshua and Parker as a fight?
Oh, that's a good fight. That's a very good fight. I had Eddie Ruiz fight Joseph Parker.
Yes.
We lost a split decision in New Zealand, which losing a split decision in New Zealand kind of means that you won.
Yeah.
But I think it's a very good fight. I think that Joshua wins that fight, though. I think that Joshua is a little more skilled than Parker. Parker, when Andy pressed him and when Andy made him back up a little bit, he was able to hit him with good shots. Speed was a very important thing in our fight. We outspeeded him, it's just we didn't get the decision. But I think in that particular matchup, I think that Joshua wins the decision.
Did you see the Joshua fight with Takam?
Yes, I did.
Did you see the stoppage?
I didn't see all of it. I saw parts of it. I saw the stoppage. They shouldn't have stopped it. I think that Takam was not getting banged around in a fashion that warranted him being stopped. I think that he had fought enough of a fight where for the last couple rounds, I think that Joshua wasn't in a position to destroy him, let's just say. Maybe to beat him, but not to destroy him. And Takam deserved a chance to at least have a chance at winning.
Okay, last night I spoke to Tunde Ajayi. Do you know who that is?
No.
Okay, he's the trainer of Anthony Yard. Do you know who Anthony Yard is?
I've heard some things about him, yes.
But you haven't seen him fight yet, though?
I've seen clips of him. It's my job to make sure that I'm up on everybody style-wise or just who they are. But to study him, no, I haven't studied him.
Okay, because he's got a fight. He's fighting this weekend against, I think, Nicola, I think Soloka. Can I pronounce Soloki? Skiloka or something like that. He fought that guy. Yeah, he's the guy that Callum Smith fought on his 14th fight, and Callum Smith only went to points. He just drew, I think he just either drew with Robert Stieglitz at light heavyweight. Yes, that's who Anthony Yard's fighting his 14th fight. So I thought maybe you'd know something about him.
No, you know what? The first 14, 15, 16, 17 fights are against guys that somebody else has controlled.
Yeah.
Once you put him in there against a guy like him, we're going to find out his work. We're going to find out what he has to offer, what he's willing to expose when he fights somebody like that. A lot of times you get a fighter in there against a similar fighter, and they box instead of fighting. They're not the puncher that they were before because, for instance, a Thurman against Danny Garcia. One time Thurman knocking everybody out against Danny Garcia, he did something totally different. So we really can't judge him until they put him in there against a similar guy. Now, they're guiding him correctly. They're getting to the point where he's going to be somebody to look forward to watching. But until he fights somebody like you, until he takes that step, I think it's premature to say this is the next coming of Mark Spence.
Okay. Errol Spence Jr. fights Lamont Peterson, and Lamont Peterson is a guy I've got a huge amount of respect for. I think he's a very underrated fighter. What are your thoughts on this fight?
You know that I've been a Errol Spence fan for a long time with you. I mean, I told you that Errol Spence is an exceptional fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Lamont Peterson is a very good fighter. He's an experienced fighter. He's an ex-world champion. I just think Errol is in his time right now. I think Errol is doing the things that he needs to do to the opponents they put in front of him, so to consider him as one of the better fighters around today. I think that sometimes he talks out of turn. I think he says things out of turn and, instead of letting his hands do his talking. But he's young. But I think that Errol beats him not easily, but he beats him handily.
And the return of Keith Thurman against Errol Spence. People saying that Thurman's ducking Spence. Do you think there's reason for him to duck Spence?
You know what? No, I don't think he's ducking him. I think he's had some injuries. I'm thinking that's going to be a great fight. And the thing is, this is where Thurman, in my opinion, is messing up. He's making a mistake. And Thurman's people. Because just like when Floyd fought Canelo when he was still green.
Yeah.
When he was still learning his trade. Floyd was very smart to do that. He fights him later. It's not good for Floyd because Floyd's getting older and Canelo's getting better. The Canelo that we fought was 1,000% better than the Canelo that Floyd fought. But that's where Floyd is so smart with matchmaking. Thurman is waiting for to heal or to do whatever he's doing. And in the meantime, Spence is getting better and better and better. So when Thurman eventually fights him, he's going to fight a better Spence than basement.
That's interesting. It's very, very, very interesting thoughts. And finally, just before we close, what are your thoughts on the comeback of one Tyson Fury? Where does he fit in the heavyweight picture in your mind? And he wants to fight Tony Bellew.
I don't think he fits. I think that he is making a mockery of his career. I think that he's destroying any kind of possibilities of people taking him serious. I just don't see him fitting. I see whoever takes a chance on him, and it's all about money, obviously, but whoever takes a chance on him, on not only watching him or start following him again, is taking a chance of being disappointed. Because I think it's a guy that he's so delusional at times that he may retire after the next fight, or he may retire before the fight. You know, he just is not somebody that you can be taken serious, in my opinion.
So you don't see Fury coming back and beating Joshua and beating Wilder and being king of the hill, as they say?
I don't think Fury is dedicated enough to do that again. I don't think that he will put himself through what he. These fighters have to put themselves through, especially the way he completely let himself go. These fighters have to put themselves through really hell to try to get to the point where Joshua is, where Wilder is, where Golovkin is, where Spence is, where Thurman, where all these guys. You can't take 3 years off or 2 years off and then come back and be the same guy you were before. It's going to take a little while. So I don't think that mentally he can put himself through that rigorous, not only training, but rigorous mental work that he has to put himself through to be what he was before.
To be fair, Tyson has been banned from boxing. He had some problems. He had his license revoked from him, so he was unable to box. So it's not all Tyson's fault. And now there's talk about him, that he could be innocent, and the people that stopped him from boxing could get sued a lot of money. What are your thoughts on that?
Why did it stop him from boxing?
Good question. Good question. Good question. Nobody's got the answer to it yet.
If he was serious about his sport, he could go somewhere else. He can go to another country. He can go to. There's so many countries around England there where he can fight at.
Okay.
Nobody would have.
Ireland said no to him, so they said no. You've got to go back to the British Boxing Board of Control. Check this. Povetkin got caught how many times? He's back fighting. Lucas Brown got caught.
So
he's fighting.
Why can't Tyson go to France? Why can't Tyson go to Italy? Why can't Tyson go to Poland? There's been fights there consistently for the last 3 or 4 months or a year. Why can't Tyson go to the Ukraine? There's fights there. If he really wants to fight, if he is serious about it, there's a lot of places where he can go.
So you're not buying it, even though if he had his license revoked?
No, it's a convenient way to say they're keeping me back. When you want something bad enough, you do exactly what is necessary to get it back.
So there's some people saying that comparing Tyson being, out of the sport, kind of like when Ali went to prison and then Tyson came back, and that's what a lot of people say. I'm just saying how people have seen the comparisons. You might not see it that way.
Those people are insulting the memory of Muhammad Ali. You can't. Tyson Fury couldn't hold Muhammad Ali's job set.
Well, of course, a lot of people would agree with you when you say that, but they use the comparisons. Well, Tyson's been away. When he comes back, he'll clean up the division. He'll beat Bellew. He'll beat Joshua. He'll beat Wilder, and he'll be the undisputed champion.
The difference is that before that happened to Muhammad Ali, he had an established Hall of Fame career before that happened to Muhammad Ali. Tyson Fury beat one fighter. Klitschko, that 40-year-old man. That's what I'm saying. That's insulting the memory of Muhammad Ali when people say things like that.
Absolutely, I agree with you there. But people. When I try and say things to people, they don't agree, and they think I'm having a dig. I'm saying, look, it is what it is. You can't have a legacy of one fight. A legacy is over. Well, it is. You can't have a legacy of one fight. you know, you can have a memory of a one fight. Yeah, exactly. That's one fight. If he comes back now and he beats Wilder and he beats Joshua and he beats Parker and he gets to the top of the hill, that's his own, you know, legacy, his own.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, you see, now we're talking.
Now we're talking different. Now we're talking about a guy who put himself through those rigors that I was talking about and was able to, because remember, those three guys that you just mentioned are putting themselves through those rigors of training camp, mental and physical, of being without the families, of all those things that they have to do to be at that level where Fury is not. Fury comes back and beats those guys, we're talking different.
Of course, and he's back in training now, so let's hope he sticks at it and you know, he gets his license back.
What, at the dinner table?
No, he's back in training. He's in training camp. He's been in training camp like a good month or so.
I thought he was washing the dishes for all the people there.
Have you become a Fury hater now, Abel?
Oh, goodness. It's fun, man.
Oh, Abel. Is there anything else you want to...
No, other than the two boys I have fighting, one tomorrow night, like I said, we'll have two fights tomorrow night here in Orange County, California, and then Dennis Sheffield fight on the HBO Latino show on the 9th in Vegas from the Mandalay Bay. So other than that, and Dennis Sheffield, by the way, he's fighting at 130 pounds.
Okay.
We're dropping him down to 130. He's fighting Rene Alvarado. Rene Alvarado's fought Gamboa. He had Gamboa down and lost the decision. He fought Joseph Diaz. He fought a lot of great fighters, or very good fighters, I should say. So now it's a matter of if Shafakov can do well against a top rating contender like this, and maybe the organization will consider him for a world title.
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Abel, do you have a message to your supporters first and foremost?
Well, thank you very much to you, first of all, for having me on and for hearing my crazy thoughts. But I think that we all, whenever I say anything, is to move the sport forward. I'm not trying to put anybody down. I think that everybody is struggling like we are also.
Absolutely.
Some of us are having a little better luck, and some of us are working a little bit harder, and some of us are winning. But it doesn't mean that we're not going to have that streak where we're not successful. So we just keep doing what we're doing, and thank you for your fans, and thank you for the public that keeps supporting this sport, because I think it's a gladiator sport where men climb to the ropes to try to best one another in the best manner, and I think they deserve our attention because they're putting their life on the line, and so many travesties happened in the last 3 or 4 years, or even just like a couple months ago with this kid named Franco.
Yes.
They put their life on the line when they come to the ropes, So I think that we owe at least that respect to understand what it is that they do.
Somebody says here that tell Abel GGG needs to fight Charlo.
I don't think Charlo has earned that right to fight GGG yet. He fought a cripple in his last fight that I turned down 3 times. I think I talked about that to you before. I think that Charlo needs to. Why doesn't Charlo fight Danny Jacobs? Just like when Lemieux fought Stevens, fight good guys so that way the public at least has an interest in a fight. Who can Charlo bring to the table? Charlo can't bring nobody to the table. So it's going to be difficult to sell that, to ram that fight down people's throats. Charlo has to be somebody that's relevant.
You know, Abel, if you were a boxer, I think you'd be a fantastic trash talker. Do you know that?
I just like to say what I see as reality. Okay, now I'll take it a little different way. I would like to say that when Charlo comes to the table, if that fight was going to be made, just like Jacobs, he's going to ask for a lotto kind of money. Why don't they say how many tickets we'll pay you on the tickets that you sell, a percentage of the tickets that you sell? Then I think that guys are going to be more apt to do the things they need to do to be able to sell a ticket. But when you can't sell tickets to your own family members, like I said about Andre Ward selling 6,500 at Mandalay Bay, and Golovkin selling out the last 7 arenas he's fought in, I mean, I think that has to be the way that you determine who fights who and who doesn't fight who. It's for the fans. If the fans don't want to see it, why the hell do you want to put it on?
Abel, you've got some fans and you've got some detractors in the room, and one person asked a question. Ask Abel how dangerous Daniel Gill was.
Daniel Gill, you have to remember who we're talking about. When you talk about Golovkin and Gill, Golovkin's at a different level than all these middleweights.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Gill beat Felix Sturm, who was a champion for 25 years. I don't know how many years he was champion, but anyway, Daniel Gill beat him twice. Daniel Gill was the middleweight champion of the world. So when you're fighting, it's not our fault that against Golovkin he folded. But then 37 or 38 guys that folded against Golovkin. Daniel Gill was an ex-world champion that beat some very good champions. Now, if we would have fought the guy that Charlo fought in his last fight, a guy named Taylor or something like that from Argentina, I turned him down 3 times because we would get chastised by the public for fighting that guy. So I think you have to compare or talk about not only Golovkin, but talk about what the other guy's accomplishments were. The other guy had accomplishments that were on a world-class level.
Abel, I think you open the floodgates up now. People are just charging at you now. And right, they're charging you. They're charging. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what makes this game so interesting.
He says, somebody says, you don't go life and death with Darren Barker and beat GGG. That's what somebody just responded in the chat room.
Darren Barker, you look at some of the YouTube videos. I think we have to be realistic on first of all, on what you say and what you know. There's a video where Eddie Hearn is quoted in this video. He's talking in some interview saying Darren Barker is his friend and he would never put him in with Golovkin because Golovkin would hurt him. So the guys at the top, the guys that are making these fights that are knowledgeable in this sport, are not allowing things to happen for that reason.
Absolutely.
So it's not that Darren Barker didn't deserve a fight because he was a middleweight champion. It's just that his promoter flat out said there was no way he would put him in with Golovkin.
Okay. Oh, this is going to be the final statement. Eubank Jr. recently, and this is Mikey. He says Eubank Jr. recently said that Eddie Hearn put Brook in with GGG, knowing what would happen, and only care for himself and the money. Do you agree?
Well, all you got to do is just go back and look at that week, the week that the fight was made. The Monday there was comments by Eddie Hearn saying that they were being very unreasonable. There was comments being said on Tuesday about them being very unreasonable. There comes a point where on Wednesday, we're going to lose the venue, we're going to lose the HBO time if we don't make a decision as a Golovkin team. What did Chris Eubank Sr. want? He wanted control of the promotion. Look at the interviews, look at the papers, look at the write-ups. Chris Eubank Sr. wanted all this control. First of all, how are they going to tell Eddie Hearn how he wants to run Eddie Hearn's show? That doesn't make any sense to me. So it gets to a point where we have to make a decision because they're being so delusional so that when Eddie Hearn suggested the top offer, and I'm saying this thing not because I was there, but because I've read those comments in a lot of write-ups. Eddie Hearn suggested the top offer. What about Kell Brook? They offered the same deal, the identical same deal, and again, you can go back and research that. The identical same deal to Kell Brook that they had offered to Chris Eubank Jr.
Mm-hmm.
But without the crazy father in the way of making his own demand. So Kell Brook, I think it took a day, but Friday he had signed the contract. He agreed to it in principle on Wednesday, and by Friday he signed the contract for the same deal. So how does that put Eddie in a position where he knows what's going to happen to Kell Brook? He offered a deal to a fighter took it.
Yep, that's fair play. That's fair play. That fight with Gassiev is confirmed to be in Russia, correct?
Correct. Sochi, the 3rd of February.
Okay, somebody's saying that the Hem reports it could be in Miami.
No, it's already been reported everywhere that it's in Sochi on the 3rd of February.
That's what I thought. Okay. Abel, Sanchez, as always, thank you so much for talking to BWTM Sports. We appreciate you. And as always, it's entertaining speaking with you.
Thank you to your fans. Have a great day.
Will do, Abel. Take care. All the best.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Once again, we have Abel Sanchez in the room, causing up stir. Some people loving Abel Sanchez. One person in the room not so keen on Abel Sanchez. But that's just what it is. Abel Sanchez speaks his truth, says what he got to say. And it's always entertaining with Abel Sanchez. Never a dull moment with Abel. Just talk about Gennady Golovkin and talk about his opposition. And Abel will come flying out the traps. Right, that's it for now from me. The next time you'll hear my voice, you'll be hearing me at 11:30 tonight for the big one, the great debate. 11:30 tonight. Don't miss it. Bo versus Eugene. Ukraine versus Cuba. Rigondeaux versus Lomachenko. With guest star from toe to toe and Sky Sports Boxing, Spencer Ferron will be in the house. Gail Thorkenthal will be in the house. And of course, Mike from Pound for Pound will be in the house. So it's going to be a great evening of debate. If Gil was Abel Sanchez in the GGG fight, they'd call him Disabled Sanchez. Oh, you guys make me laugh. You guys make me laugh. Right, I'm out of here. I can't believe what Abel said about Tyson, though. I'm shocked. But there you go. I'm out of here. Take care.